Hello everyone and welcome to the channel. So in today's video we are going to be talking about Joan Laporta and Mateu Alemany and the announcement that could be made in this week. Then we are going to be talking about the meeting between Laporta and Ronald Koeman that was held a couple of hours ago. And then lastly we are going to give the latest updates regarding the fitness of Felipe Coutinho. So there is plenty that we do need to discuss, and we are first going to be talking about Mateu Alemany. So the reason why I do want to bring this up is because we need to have the discussion of who is going to be within the team of Laporta. Right now, at the moment, the full team of Laporta is not fully assembled. There is some directives within his board, but the full team is not there, and especially the most important positions, which is the sporting director and the CEO, or in other words, the manager. Like, yes, we have discussed what are going to be the goals of Laporta and Ronald Koeman and the players that they do want to bring within the summer. We have talked about that, but the missing piece of the puzzle in order to even have those discussions would be to have a CEO. And I get why many people would assume that Laporta does seem very unorganized in his first few days with Barcelona, but we have to understand that when you are becoming the new president of FC Barcelona and you do not know whether you're going to be having this position or not, it would make no sense to call these people like about 30 to 90 days before the elections are held, and then in the end only for you to not get the position, which is to become the president of FC Barcelona. Then you're going to have the people like Mateu Alemany or maybe Jordi Cruyff or many other people that were connected with Joan Laporta. You're going to have them jobless, and Laporta does not want that. It would make more sense to have the confirmation first to become the president and then call these people to terminate their contracts with the jobs that they do have. But moving forward towards who is going to be the CEO or the manager of FC Barcelona right next to Laporta, it says here, according to Fernando Polo, Mateu Alemany's incorporation into Laporta's team could be announced within this week. And that is some huge news because Mateu Alemany, just to give a broad overview of who this man really is, he's a very successful manager, and historically he has proven that. And I want to show you guys a very big important example of what this man could do and just how much of an impact he really is once he is in charge. Back on 2017, he was the manager for Valencia, and before he came in, if we look at where Valencia was at and where they finished within the table of La Liga, you can see that Valencia finished in 12th place. Then let's move on towards the first season where they did have Mateu Alemany in full control. Look at where Valencia was at now. Valencia went straight into 4th place. Moving on towards the next season, which is the 2018-2019 season, Valencia maintained their position and were in 4th place. And lastly, within the last slide here in this picture, when Mateu Alemany did leave Valencia, Valencia went right back down into 9th place. So you can see that he did have a big impact in where he did work before. Now, I'm not saying that this is a man that is considered as a manager for Valencia and he brings the players and he decides who gets to play where and what type of style of football this team should be playing. He's not in charge of that. He is a CEO. He is the one that is in control of the operations within this club, which basically means that every signing that the sporting director or the coach do desire to have or want to make in the coming future, everything has to go through him first and to check and see if this move does make sense financially. And that is a huge important role to have, because when a club, for example, right, sign a player that is extremely expensive around the range of 137 million euros, you bring him in and he never works out, that team is going to want to sign another player that could impact the squad. But because that club did spend a total of 137 million euros putting all of their eggs in one basket, that club cannot sign a reinforcement. And that is what a man like Mateu Alemany is there to do, is to make these signings that could make sense, is to have a plan A, a plan B, to say that yes, we could sign this player, but on the long term, financially, it would not make any sense. So let's take a look at plan B and plan C and see if these players can work out for us. So no, he's not going to be heavily involved into any type of sporting decision, but he will be having that final say just for the long-term health of this club. And having Laporta and Alemany work within Barcelona, that would bring back the stability that Barcelona has been needing over the past few months and years. And we will see the dividends pay out in a few years down the road. We are not going to be seeing this within the next month or the next 2 months that Alemany makes a great impact for Barcelona. This is going to be taking time. So in a few years or maybe in a few months, we will be seeing the work of Alemany. If he does get appointed by Laporta, we will see his results down the road. And now I do want to talk about Ronald Koeman and the meeting that he did have with Laporta. And it says here, according to Adria Albets, Koeman was in the club's offices and met with Laporta, but according to the sources at the club, it was not an official meeting. Koeman came to the offices about something else and he was there for only about 45 45 minutes. Now listen, even I can tell you that this meeting that was held earlier today in Barcelona, it is a complete mystery. We have no idea why Koeman entered that club and what that meeting was all about. But in my opinion, right, this is only going to be speculation. If Ronald Koeman ever has a meeting at the club at Barcelona, and especially with Laporta, the only reason I could see why Koeman would be there would be because he wants to talk about the players, and Laporta also wants to talk about the players that could be entering within the summer. And a report did come out shortly right after that meeting was held, and it came from ESPN, and more specifically from Moises Llorens. And it says here, and I quote, "Ronald Koeman is still keeping his eyes on Wijnaldum and Memphis Depay. He likes these players, but nothing is closed yet at the moment." And so there is correlation within these reports, and I do think that one thing is going to be very clear regarding Koeman's decisions in this summer. He wants to bring in two players, which is Wijnaldum and Memphis Depay. And this is where I do say, right, I do believe that there is going to be tension within this club when it comes to Ronald Koeman and the potential future technical director Jordi Cruyff. And when I mean by tension, I do not mean that Ronald Koeman and Jordi Cruyff are going to be falling out within the club and have all of these arguments. I mean, like, they're going to be having tension in a good way to talk about how could we move Barcelona forward sportingly and what signings could be made, because sometimes these sort of tensions could be good tensions and ultimately could lead towards great decisions. But there is going to be that difference at the end of the day. And you look at who Jordi Cruyff is and what Laporta wants to do with this Barcelona club, they do stand by something, and they stand by producing and relying on the youth. And not only that, but youth players that understand the football that Barcelona should be playing. Looking at Memphis Depay and Wijnaldum, these are two players that do not stand by that meaning, and it is for different reasons. You look at Wijnaldum, who is almost turning 31 years old. It would make no sense for a player at his age to come to Barcelona right now. You look at Memphis Depay, who is much younger than Wijnaldum. He could serve Barcelona for many years, but you look at the way that Memphis Depay does play and what role he could be taking, it would make no sense in the context of what Barcelona is currently building. And I do want to announce one thing that was also announced earlier in Barcelona, which I believe is going to be very important regarding this report. Earlier today, it has been announced by NXGN 2021, which is a list of the best young players in the world that was born after January 1st, 2002. There were 3 players within this list that were from Barcelona that featured within this reward. We do have Moriba, who came in at 50th place within that list. We have Pedri, who we know has been playing extremely well with Barcelona, came in at 4th place within the list. And then lastly, in 1st place, you might have guessed it early, Ansu Fati wins number 1. He has won this award and is claimed as the best young player in world football that was born after January 1st. And you look at that, right, you see the amount of Barcelona players that featured within this list and who has won the 1st place award, which is Ansu Fati. Coincidentally enough, you look at Memphis Depay and Wijnaldum. These are 2 players that might potentially take out the roles of Ansu Fati and Moriba. Now, does Wijnaldum and Moriba play in the exact same starting position? No, they don't, but they do occupy the exact same space. And putting Wijnaldum into Barcelona, it would not make any sense. It would only take away the minutes of Moriba. And then you look at Memphis Depay, who can play as a central forward, but does occupy the space on the left wing. Ansu Fati is also a player that plays within that area. And so I do hope that looking at this list and see the players who have been featured, which is Ansu Fati, Moriba, and Pedri, these are 3 players that are the future of FC Barcelona. There is no reason to bring any player above the age of 27, 26 years old and take away the minutes of these young, great players. And I do want to congratulate these 3 players. I am so happy to see players such as Ansu Fati, Pedri, and Moriba receive the award and be within the top 50 list. There are many young players that were not even considered within this list, and so I do applaud them. And this is only showing us that Barcelona is a team that's currently building for the future. And we are going to be continuing to question why Ronald Koeman would want to sign Memphis Depay and Wijnaldum. And this is not going to be the last time we are going to be hearing a report of Koeman being interested in these 2 players. Lastly, I do want to talk about Philippe Coutinho, a player that we have not seen since last year in 2020. It has been said here that Philippe Coutinho was in Doha to undergo a medical review of his injury. And it has also been said that Coutinho not only went to Doha to examine his recovery, but he wanted to make a second test just to see if everything is going well. Now, previously, about 3 to 4 months back, Coutinho did encounter a surgery. And at that time, they have said that Coutinho was going to be out for another 3 months because of that surgery, which is why I do assume that Coutinho wanted that second meeting and that second test to understand if everything is going well. And I do think that it is very unfortunate to see Coutinho miss almost the whole course of this beautiful season that Barcelona Barcelona is having. I wished that Coutinho could have taken part of this Barcelona squad, but it is what it is. And at the moment, everything does indicate that Coutinho could be back in early April. And that would only be considered as phase 1. The phase 2 would be to actually get fit again. Once he does recover, phase 2 is going to be requiring many individual training in order for Coutinho to resume back into the squad list. So it is going to be taking some time. So there may be, right? Maybe there might be a chance that Coutinho, if there's a miracle, that he could be featuring within the squad list by the middle to the end of April. And that would be a miracle. Once he does come back, I do find it very interesting that when he does head towards the squad list, he's going to find it extremely difficult to get back into the starting 11, because we have to remember that the only reason why Coutinho was having his minutes decreased in the beginning of the season, it was because of Pedri. Pedri was outperforming Felipe Coutinho at that time, and Ronald Koeman much preferred Pedri over Felipe Coutinho. And so who knows how it's going to be once he does come back. I assume that it's going to be the exact same thing. I do believe that Pedri and now the emerging great interior midfielder Frenkie de Jong are going to be starting within those areas. But that's going to be it for today's Barcelona daily news. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys are new here, welcome to the channel. Please like, subscribe, comment, and I will see you guys in the next video.